Let's say the original 1994 Lion King was your favorite film as a child. Wait, hold on. Let's back up for a second. Let's say you had a grandmother, and she was like the greatest grandmother of all time. Then, sadly, she passed away. Then, this incredible company announces it will reanimate your grandmother for a single day. You wait patiently, and finally, it's Grandmother Day, and it's just fine. It's fine. But something was a little off. You're glad you got to see your grandmother again, but you're also glad it's over. Well, as it turns out, Grandmother Day was a huge financial success. Now, imagine your grandmother is the Lion King. This is the breakdown. This journey from excitement to fatigue, then ever so slowly, resentment. Wondering whether or not we ever really loved our grandmother / the Lion King in the first place raises a question in my mind. What are the repercussions of exploiting our nostalgia? The term nostalgia is an ancient portmanteau of two Greek words, essentially meaning a painful homecoming, and was evoked in the 17th century to describe a particular kind of homesickness Swiss soldiers experienced while fighting far away from their native land. I like to think of nostalgia as a happy sadness, brought on by remembering a real lived moment, but with the emotion of the memory taking the forefront rather than the facts of the history. Nostalgia is a perfect marketing tool because it's so personal, while at the same time, shared. It relies on feelings overriding reality. Once something nostalgic is being sold to us, we will do all the work ourselves. Hey Dad, you took me to see the original. Now that I have kids, we should all go see the new one together. Hashtag 3 generations of fans. By the time the movie shows up in theaters, we're frothing at the mouth, begging the Cineplex to take our money. The original Lion King was the highest grossing Disney film at the time, and is currently the only movie among Disney's top 10 released before 2000, so needless to say, it packs a cultural punch. The film grossed $986 million worldwide. Divide that by the average cost of a movie ticket in 1994, $4.18, and you can guesstimate over 230 million people saw The Lion King in theaters alone. Just go ahead and assume that number has continuously multiplied for the home audience over the last 25 years. All that is to say, most people have a personal experience with The Lion King. Here's mine. I was 12, a little too old in my 12-year-old opinion to see a kid's cartoon, but I took my younger sister, and I loved it. I loved the emotional impact, the humor, most of all, the music. When Can You Feel the Love Tonight came on, I had a vivid image of slow dancing with Katie Caruso, a classmate who I didn't even realize I had a crush on, but there it was, feelings.
Oh, gross.
From a 12-year-old. Now, in the present day, with the release of the hyper-realistic full CGI version of The Lion King out, I feel a knot growing in my stomach.
Hello.
I've identified 5 key reasons I, and I suspect others, feel Disney and the entertainment machine in general is threatening the resilience of our youthful reminiscences. 1, I actually do not care. And yet, I'm an adult, and not a self-identified Disney person, and I don't have kids. I genuinely have no interest in spending exactly 2 hours of my life watching very real-looking fake animals reenacting this wonderful nugget of my past. And yet, there is still a strange, indescribable magnetic pull I have towards this movie. A sense of duty, or obligation, perhaps. Does content from our past have some kind of psychological stranglehold over us that we don't even fully understand? Ultimately, this movie is making me, a fully grown adult, consider doing something I do not want to do. What's up with that? 2. It's unsettling. This movie is looking squarely down the barrel of the Uncanny Valley, and it's bothering a lot of people. IndieWire film critic David Elric tweeted, "It doesn't feel like a remake so much as a photorealistic snuff film." Justin Chang, via NPR. When they launch into Can You Feel the Love Tonight, not even the actors' lovely voices can bring these lions' dead-eyed, come-hither expressions to life. The Uncanny Valley is a concept whereby a facsimile looks almost real. But hidden inside that almost is a little difference that is just off enough so as to create a disturbing sensation to the viewer. For an undiluted understanding, consider the deepfake phenomenon. A deepfake is the usage of a type of artificial intelligence technology that can seamlessly merge a human face onto someone else's head. The effect works a little too well, in the sense that it's so realistic, but there's something inside our organic human compasses that can spot the fake every time. That makes your skin crawl, but also, I dare you to look away. This is what watching the new Lion King for 2 hours is doing to us. More subtly, yet on a larger scale. See also Cats 3, Legacy. Up until this year, The Lion King meant The Lion King. From now on, what will it mean when we say The Lion King? Will we mean the original? Will we mean this new one? Will we somehow mean both at once? What does this signify for movies going forward? Is a movie a system now? A never-ending series of morphing loops? Which version will we show to our kids? Do we have to show them both? Does every screening now come with a conversation about there also being another Lion King? And the biggest question of all, is it even possible for any of these remakes to transcend the original? If it's actually impossible to supersede the movie it's based on, then truly, what is the point? But if they could potentially transcend the originals, would we really want that? Or would we find ourselves slowly growing weirdly miffed as all of these childhood touchstones are headhunted and replaced? 4. Righteous indignation. Then there's the good old-fashioned human condition of hating being pandered and condescended to.
Did I adequately answer your condescending question?
Our memory and nostalgia is being exploited, marketed, chopped, and screwed, and sold right back to us. We hold our childhoods so precious and dear to ourselves, yet they're remarkably fragile, unstable vapors, and Disney's approach feel like it's taking something delicate, grabbing it by the back of the neck, and shoving it right up the ass of Pumbaa.
Yup.
It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. What are we collectively sacrificing here? We canonize things in order to preserve them. So, if we aren't preserving these memories, are we actively helping to deteriorate them? Consider Star Wars, as culturally revered as a modern story can be. When The Force Awakens reignited the franchise in 2015, it grossed nearly $1 billion. However, with each new sequel or spin-off, the box office is dropping, and yes, the nostalgia factory has been at work for a long time, i.e. Happy Days pandering to our parents' generation with some of that feel-good 50s ho-hum thing, but there's a big difference between nodding towards something and straight up heisting it from us and then selling it back at a premium. As of today, the worldwide box office is $1.6 billion. This is signaling to Disney full steam ahead.
What fun!
In spite of ourselves and a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes, we are handing over the keys to our childhoods and saying, run wild. We won't stop you.
Okay. Hey, no problem.
Which brings me to number 5, Stockholm Syndrome. We have effectively been taken hostage. We are Alex in A Clockwork Orange with our eyes taped open, forced to watch until we've accepted this new reality. Take a look at Disney's remake schedule past. Jungle Book, Dumbo, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Cinderella, The Lion King, and slated for the future, Mulan, Lady and the Tramp, Pinocchio, Hunchback, Oliver Twist, James and the Giant Peach, Peter Pan, Sword in the Stone, Lilo and Stitch, Little Mermaid, Snow White, a Cruella de Vil movie, and a Tinkerbell movie. The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Now you're gonna pay.
Taken all at once, we're met with one giant sense of collective fatigue and dread, with seemingly no way out.
Turn it off!
The thing we thought belonged exclusively to us, our childhood memories, are no longer safe. And here is probably the most crucial point of all. These cycles of nostalgic regurgitation actively stunts new cultural growth. The thing about nostalgia is, it can be used against us to distort historical fact. A study was conducted on nostalgia as it relates to the views of apartheid by South Africans, in which some tapped into this feeling as an opportunity to learn from the past, yet others as a wish for things to return as they were. One version is helpful, the other potentially destructive. The stories we tell shape who we are. If those are constantly being pulverized and reformed into grotesque models in an attempt to keep things the way they are, our shared memory, already shaky and nebulous on its best days, becomes one large deep fake. Impossible to advance. And let's put on our tinfoil hats for a second here. This technology that has already provided a perfectly innocent, albeit freaky, way to animate meerkats has been used to resurrect Bruce Lee to sell whiskey. So it's not a stretch to think that we're a few years off from deepfakes becoming so convincing they could be used, for instance, by one country to spread misinformation about another country. For the worst case scenario... Okay. Let's get back to the meerkats. Ultimately, though, this is why our grandmother has to die. Forever. Because this is the only way we are to take the gifts she bestowed onto us and use them to grow into something new and different, rather than continuing to devour and regurgitate itself. More and more grotesque with each regeneration. Wow. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. If you still have your grandmother, give her a kiss for us. And if she's sadly passed away, for God's sakes, let that poor woman stay dead. Thanks for checking out the breakdown. We'll see you next time.